There's a moment out here when you realize you are lost. Not where's the trail lost, the other kind. The kind where your phone is dead. Your compass needle won't sit still. Every direction looks exactly the same. You turn in a slow circle. Tree trunks, moss, darkness between them like open doors. No birds, no wind in the leaves, just silence. And then you see it. A thin strip of colored tape tied to a low branch. You follow it with your eyes. There's another piece, and another, a crooked line disappearing into the trees. Somebody marked their way in so they could find their way back out. But that line of tape, it doesn't lead toward the parking lot. It leads deeper, much deeper. You step off the barely there path and follow. The forest closes in behind you like a door swinging shut. After 10 minutes, you find the first thing, an old backpack leaning against a trunk, covered in leaves, no owner. Farther in, there's a pair of shoes, side by side, neatly placed. Then, eventually, under a twisted tree, there's a tent, faded, half collapsed. As you get close, you know, before you lift the flap, what kind of tent this is, because this is Aokigahara, Japan's suicide forest, and tents out here are almost never for camping. You are watching Mourad's Mysteries, and this is the story of Aokigahara. At the foot of Mount Fuji, there is a forest that eats sound. Locals call it Jukai, the sea of trees. The ground is old lava, hardened into black rock with sharp edges. Tree roots twist over it like knotted ropes. In some places, the soil is so thin nothing big can burrow. Animals are rare. Boots crunch on volcanic glass. Every footstep feels too loud. On a map, Aokigahara looks ordinary. A patch of green, about 12 square miles. But inside, it is a maze. Trails start strong and then just fade. The trees grew so fast after Fuji's last major eruption that their trunks crowd together. They block the wind. They swallow echoes. If you shout out here, your own voice dies a few meters away. People say compasses go crazy in Aokigahara. That's partly myth, partly truth. The iron-rich lava can nudge a compass needle, especially near the ground. Not wild circles, just enough to make you doubt. And when you already feel disoriented, doubt is all it takes. But Aokigahara's reputation isn't just about getting lost. It's about something much darker. And to understand that, we have to go back, before the YouTube videos, before the headlines, to a time when this forest was haunted, long before anyone called it Suicide Forest. For centuries, Aokigahara has been a place of ghosts. In Japanese folklore, forests are liminal spaces, borders between the human world and something else. Aokigahara, with its tangled trees at the foot of a sacred volcano, was prime real estate for stories. People told of yurei, restless spirits wandering under its branches, white-clad figures with long black hair, souls who died with deep anger or sorrow, unable to move on. There are darker rumors, too. Whispers that, in times of famine, desperate families brought their elderly into the woods and left them there to die. A practice called ubasute. Historians argue over whether that ever truly happened here. There's little hard proof, but the idea soaked into the soil of the stories. Aokigahara as a place where people were left, unwanted, unseen, forgotten. Even the trees got a reputation. Superstitions said that if you cut one down, misfortune would follow you out of the forest. That compasses didn't just misbehave, they refused to point north because the spirits twisted them. By the mid-1900s, the forest was already a ghost in people's minds. But it was still mostly a normal place. Hikers came, families picnicked, couples parked cars on the outskirts to sneak off under the trees. The forest's modern reputation, the thing that would give it its new name, came from 2 books and the people who read them. Police and volunteers had found bodies in Aokigahara before, a few each year. But by the late 1990s and early 2000s, the numbers surged. Dozens, then more. People from across Japan would take the train toward Fuji. They'd buy a one-way ticket to the small town nearby, then disappear into the trees. The forest's old ghosts were joined by a new one, reputation. The more people heard that Aokigahara was a place people went to die, the more people chose it for that reason. A self-fulfilling tragedy. By the mid-2000s, the nickname stuck, Jisatsu no Mori, the suicide forest. But if Aokigahara became famous for death, there are also people here who fight every day for life. He has walked these trails for over 30 years. He isn't a ghost hunter. He isn't a YouTuber. He's a forest worker. We'll call him Sato. Sato's job is simple on paper. Maintain the trails, check for fallen branches, post warning signs. Your life is a precious gift from your parents. Think of your family. Please consult the police before you decide to die. But everyone knows what else he does. He looks for people. At first light, Sato parks his little truck at a gravel turnout. He steps into the trees. In his pocket is a small stack of business cards for local helplines. Over his shoulder, a bag with water bottles, blankets. He follows the subtle language of the forest. Bright tape on a branch, he follows it. Suitcase hidden behind a rock, he stops, pauses, listens. Sometimes he finds nothing, an abandoned plan, someone who changed their mind and left. Those are the good days. Other days, he finds the rest. Clothing, wallets, notes, and too often, remains. We don't need the details. Sato has seen enough for all of us. He keeps a small cabin near one of the service roads. Over the years, it has slowly filled with things he's carried out of the trees. Umbrellas, shoes, stuffed animals, ID cards, photos in broken frames. He doesn't think of it as a trophy room. It's more like a memory library. Proof that every person who came here was real, not an urban legend,
Not a number in a headline, a life. On a cold morning in early spring, Sato finds a new trail of tape. This one is fresh, bright, leading away from the main path into the thickest part of the forest. He hesitates, then follows. He has no idea that this walk will end differently than almost every one before it. We'll come back to that.
On any given day, Aokigahara is normal. Hikers park at the public lot. They snap photos of Mount Fuji peeking over the tree line. They buy snacks at the visitor center. Maps show well-marked trails with friendly names: Ice Cave Course, Wind Cave Course. Families walk laughing kids down the path. You can't see the darker parts from here.
But step off the main loop, and the mood changes. The soil eats sound again. Branches knit above you. Sunlight shreds into thin gray stripes. You start seeing things. An empty water bottle in the middle of nowhere. A single glove hanging from a twig. Bright ribbons tied to trunks. Some are left by volunteers, marking search patterns. Others are left by people who aren't sure if they want to come back out. They tie tape as they walk, creating an umbilical cord to the world outside. Some cords lead all the way back. Others stop abruptly. Often, those are the ones Sato follows.